If you are getting back into running for health reasons or you want to train for a race, I'm going to give you a quick blueprint on how to do this effectively. So one, you get the most out of your running, but two, you reduce your chances of like getting hurt or having to step away from running for a while. I'm going to give you a full blueprint on how you should approach running in a good way, in a natural way, in a way that isn't counterproductive or ineffective. So we're going to talk about 3 simple things that I need you to implement into your training program. When people think about running, they obviously think about running. There's 2 other things we have to address. So I'll get to that in a second. Let's talk about the first key component. You got to start running and you got to be consistent. And so it's not a bad idea to say, hey, I'm going to run 3 times a week for the next month. Start that consistency. Because once you get through the first couple weeks or even months, you will enjoy it more and feel better. Obviously, that first run is going to be brutal. The first couple runs might be brutal, and it's because you're doing something your body's not used to, right? But let's talk about this. When you get into running, I think a very smart way to approach it is increasing your mileage by 10% every week. So let's say you do 3 runs, it ends up totaling 8 miles. Guess what you're running next week? 8.8 miles, or you can round up and say 9 miles. And then as you get into crazy volume and you're very fit, when I'm running like a 50-mile week, then I'm adding 5 miles to the next week, or sometimes even 10, because I'm fit in the sense like I've just been doing this for a while, so I can handle it. If you're getting back into it, you're brand new. Be very slow and realize this is a long-term thing, and it's just not fun to go too fast and then ending up like getting hurt, right? So that's a really important part of it. But you just got to be consistent. So commit to a number of runs per week or a weekly mileage goal, because that is, if you want to get good at running or just get into it, you have to start running. I know that's obvious, but that's the first component. Be consistent. Second thing, what I want you to do is I want you to stretch after every single run for about 5 to 10 minutes, 7 minutes, whatever. Like just a little bit, and I'm going to give you some stretches you should do. I believe a big part of injuries come down to lack of mobility or a lack of strength, which we'll get to the strength part in a second. But if you're getting into running, save yourself some heartache, save yourself from some injuries, and stretch after every single run. 5 to 10 minutes is not a lot of time, and I tell this to people, I would rather you run a mile less or reduce your volume so you have the time to stretch afterwards. So if you're short on time, you work early, whatever, right? You plan on running 3 miles and then you rush to get ready and go to work. I would rather you run 2.5 or 2 miles and then stretch. You make time for the things you care about, and so do the 3 miles and stretch. But if you're kind of in that, well, I don't have a lot of time, I'm already busy, blah, 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 that whole excuse, I would rather you reduce your volume and stretch, because this is going to help you reduce injuries and you're going to feel better. The reason why I like doing it after a run, there's some different opinions out there about should you stretch, and sometimes it doesn't work for people, whatever. I don't stretch before my runs. I might do a warm-up depending on what the workout is. And so I stretch afterwards when my body's already warm and I'm done with the running. So as I cool, at least for me, as I cool down after a run, I start to feel things tighten up, and it makes sense because my muscles were pushing and contracting. They're warm, and then as I cool off, it feels like they kind of seize or tighten up a little bit. And so if I do it right after my run, before I even walk inside, or I walk inside and go straight to my yoga room and start stretching, then I'm doing it when my body's warm. I don't have to warm up for the stretching, and I can actually stretch like pretty like just deeper stretches, right? Opposed to in a fresh yoga class, you kind of have to warm up and then you can get into it. You're already warm. You've been running. And so I do 3 or 4 simple stretches. Again, not really more than 10 minutes. I do the quad stretch where you grab your ankle behind your butt. I do like hands to toes or to your shins if you're not that flexible yet. So you're stretching your hamstrings. And then I do some sort of calf stretch where I'm like putting my foot up against something and stretching that way, right? So up against a wall, a pole, whatever. There's some equipment that helps make it easy that I have. So a little like slant board that you can just put your foot on and push your hips forward. So really that's kind of all you need. If you want to do more or you're feeling certain parts that are tight, yeah, I absolutely address those. And maybe you start implementing like an hour-long stretching session once or twice a week, or even 30 minutes. But if you do it after every single run, I think that is just an easy way to get stretching. And if you run 3 times, you stretch 10 minutes after every run. That's 30 minutes a week. I think that's really good. So stacking that consistently on top of your consistent running, super good for you. It's going to help you reduce injury. Now, last thing, let's talk about strength training, because I know this is very daunting for some people, and it was for me, and they don't know where to start, and I'm just going to simplify it for you. And then as you fall in love with strength training, if you do, which I think you will, if you know what you're doing and you know aren't like full of anxiety with it, you can start looking into other ways to train. Like the way I train today in the gym is not how I started at the beginning. And so you'll find your own thing that you like and what works for you, but I'm going to simplify it because if you're not doing any strength training, let's just get you strength training. What I want you to do is a full body workout once or twice or 3 times a week. So I think strength training is another reason why I don't get injuries very often. I avoid them. And the lack of strength training is a big reason why other people get injuries. And so if you can simplify and do a full body workout, and I'll give you some exercises you can do, then you don't overcomplicate it with, well, push-pull legs. And I love push-pull legs. Like, that's typically what I do. So you could get into that or look up videos on push-pull legs. But I just want you to get used to being in the gym. And so some simple stuff that won't take that long. Maybe it's an hour, 45 minutes. Some very simple full body workouts you can do are squats, bicep curls, some sort of back workout like pull-ups, and then a tricep pushdown. I think those are very simple exercises that are helpful for you as a runner and will help you develop muscle and get stronger. Squats, it works out pretty much most of your legs. Like, yes, you can do hamstring curls and quad extensions, but we're just trying to simplify it so you get in the gym. Do some sort of squat, even if it's just body weight for now, but eventually barbell or maybe a goblet squat where you're carrying a dumbbell, right, or a kettlebell. So do squats, do bicep curls because you run faster when you have bigger biceps. Tricep push down, so that's like a rope, or really a straight bar is what I like, where you push it down on a cable, or pull ropes. Those are good for triceps too. And then something for the back, like pull-ups or a row. And so you can look up all those things if you need help finding good form. But if you just start doing that full body workout, you're kind of addressing a foundation of everything. And if you want to do more stuff like Bulgarians or hamstring curls for your legs, or maybe you want to throw in some more back exercises, I think that's great. And I guess the other thing I should say is, like, you really should do some sort of core workout, whether you do it by itself or you do it in your strength lifting session. Core, planks, super easy, or cable crunches. I think if you pick one of those, or I like hanging leg raises too, but any of those for core, at least you're getting used to, doing something for your abs. And I'm not so much trying to like get a six pack, like I guess I already have one, but it's more about my core being able to be strong in my run. So hopefully you get a six pack along the way. Like, you do have to develop your abs, but as you run, you'll lose weight too, if you're, in a caloric deficit. So you do need to be able to show off your abs, and it's hard when you when you're have a little bit extra body fat. But maybe that's not your goal. My point being, do something for your core because it's good for running. Maybe you'll get abs along the way if you don't have them. So I think if you do these 3 things, you are very safe, and you are going to do things, and you'll just fall in love with it. Like, you're not going to get injured, or you're not as likely to get injured. Of course, you can't control everything, and there may be some other problems like your form's bad or whatever. But if you do these 3 things, I think it's the healthiest way to approach running, and it is a lifestyle switch if you're not doing any of this. But maybe you're in the gym and you want to start running. You already know what you're doing there. Throw in some stretching after your runs. So very easy, like, just to throw out a plan and then I'll end the video. If you're going to run for 3 times a week, strength train twice a week, and then stretch after every run, like, that's really only 5 days of working out, and you have your rest days, or you put strength training on top of the days you run as well, and then you're only working out 3 days a week or 4 days a week. So maybe you run Monday, Wednesday, Friday, you strength train Tuesday, Thursday if you want a second one, and you stretch after everything. You got your weekends, or you start increasing volume as you feel comfortable. So if you like running content, that's what this channel is about. I'm trying to help people learn from my mistakes. Hopefully PR, but overall just deepen their relationship with running, because it quite literally saved my life. And so hopefully some of these things I say can help you too. And consider subscribing if you like this kind of stuff. If not, I still hope you got something out of the video, and I hope I get to see you in another video sometime soon. Peace!